speaking to you again from Lisbon, Portugal at the Web Summit. We've had a great day today, and I'm excited to share with you what we've learned today, what we've experienced, and to have you hear about what I guess how our pre-work has definitely paid off. So for those of you that were listening yesterday, I kind of went through how we prepare for Web Summit in a particular area, and we organized a lot of meetings today. And basically, because of our pre-work, every one of those meetings, we're going to be definitely continuing the conversation with those people. So I'm actually going to give a bit of a shout out to those companies, because I want to share with you how the value that we see in working with them. And for those of you at Web Summit, you may want to connect with them yourselves, or for those of you that are not here at Web Summit, there may be companies that you're interested in. So the first person I want to talk to you about is Peter Coppinger. He is the CEO of Teamwork. Now, I love Teamwork. It's a tool that I've been using for many years, and at Bryn we actually run our whole business on Teamwork. So I have a very strong vested interest in that product, and it was just fabulous to meet Peter. I was able to share my experiences with Teamwork and some features that I would love to see. He also downloaded Bryn and gave me some feedback about Bryn, and it's really great because when you're speaking to other people that build software or mobile apps or that type of thing, you know that you're going to get really constructive feedback. So that's really great for us, and we're definitely going to be continuing that conversation. There's certain things that are coming up for both our products that there might be some alignment there. So really great that we got to make that connection. The other one was Elizabeth Delvin, and she's from a company called Full Contact. Now, admittedly, when I first looked at Full Contact, I really saw it as a business to consumer product, but actually there is a business to business component as well. And it's a really great product. I don't necessarily want to go into detail in terms of what aspect of that product that we're looking at, because it's for some future features of Bryn, but they're a very well established company, and for actually anyone that is business to consumer, and if you're wanting to look at a way to manage your contacts and sourcing further information about your clients based on just an email, it's fabulous that utilizing their API and that type of thing, how much further information on your client base that you can get. Now, they've got a stand over 3 days at Web Summit, so if that's something that you're interested in, I would highly recommend that you meet their team. The other one was, and I hope I pronounced his name correctly, Colio Kabu. Now, this is really interesting because a lot of small businesses, he's in the data analysis, business analysis area, and a lot of small businesses really struggle in terms of data analysis. They don't have time, or it's not their area of speciality. And what he does is he basically takes that, and so effectively small businesses can outsource that, and he looks at all the data with his team, and they come back with reports and suggestions on how you can use that data and perhaps the changes you need to make in your product and that type of thing. So we're going to talk to him further. I mean, we do analyze our data anyway quite strongly now, obviously. Well, not obviously, we just do, because it's something that's really important to us. So we are going to talk further, but I'm still yet to decide perhaps if that's a product that we will use within our business. Another one which was really excited to meet was actually a fellow Aussie from Melbourne, Australia, and that was Ash Conway from Wolff. The thing about Wolff, and for those of you that build websites or build mobile apps, you'll know that the testing component of your product is a very time consuming, and if you onboard in your company a testing team, or if you have your developers doing your testing, either of those options is quite an expensive exercise and it's time consuming. With Bryn, testing is really important for us. Usually, depending on the size of the release, it's a 2 or 3 week process. But what Ash was sharing with us about his product, because they've had this really unique, fantastic way that they onboard testers into their business. They've had over 3,000 applications and they got it down to 50 because they have very, very strict criteria to even be a tester on their team. And they use gamification as a way of testing and gamification as a way of engaging the testers. Now, what's really great is because most of us, when we have website products or mobile products, is that they're global. And often, your testers are usually in a particular country. And, with Ash and his team, their testers are around the world. And so you can be testing your product around the world. And the best part is what in-house is often a 2 or 3 week process to do your testing. They can literally do in a day because they've got, 40, 50 testers working on your product, or depending on the size of of the testing team that you want with them, it could be 3 or 4, then you turn around your testing in such a short space of time. Now, for anyone that's in operation or runs tech teams, we all know how fantastic that is, because 1, you would reduce your testing component of your product, but 2, it saves you a lot of time. And particularly like Bryn, when we're first to market with most of our features, it means that we can get to market a lot faster. So a great product. Ash is also at Web Summit, so if you're here and that's something you're interested, make sure you connect with him on the Web Summit app. But if you're not here and it's something you're interested, definitely reach out. The last person I met today was Josh Andren, and he's from a company called PressFriendly, based in the US. And again, another struggle that small businesses or startups have is managing their media and managing their marketing. And, sometimes for small businesses to employ a marketing manager is an expensive exercise, and there's only so much that one individual can do. And so what Josh and his team do is they help manage that whole process, and their contacts, particularly in the US, if you want to go into the US market, is extremely extensive. And so the person that you work with on their team has 6 to 8 years experience, and they help you put together your campaigns, and basically they run your marketing campaigns for you. Now, you still have probably internal people in your team that you can decide if you want a full service with them or just a managed service. And so that you could still work with internal people within your team if you have social media people or writers or that type of thing. But they oversee the whole campaign, and they give you suggestions, and they handle all the media. So when you're doing a proper marketing campaign, it should cover your email marketing, your social media marketing, and your media all together, and they help coordinate that and make it seamless and make it so much easier, and basically ensure that you've got a story to tell month after month after month, so that you're front of mind of your customers and potential customers. So another great company we got to meet today, and I can't emphasize enough, this is the first day. We haven't even walked into the venue yet, and we've had these amazing meetings. We're definitely going to be continuing the conversations with these people, but because we did our due diligence, because we looked them up in advance, saw who they were, and ascertained whether there would be a connection with Bryn, we've had a great day in terms of connecting with some great people. Now, sometimes like this evening, there was a dinner put on for those of us that are in the Start group at Web Summit, and there were speakers there as well, and all the Start. Now, we met at least 5 or 6 companies tonight. Now, even though none of those companies were there wasn't necessarily a direct connection with Bryn, and by that I mean that they're not necessarily companies we would do direct business with, but I can honestly say with each of them I learned something. There was one from Switzerland, one from the UK, from the US, from Portugal, and there's lots of questions you can ask. You can ask about marketing in their countries, you can ask them how they do certain things in their company, and business is business. Certain processes that you have in one company can be applicable to another. So if there's areas in your own business that you might be struggling with or you want to improve on, you can talk to other business owners and see how they do it. So but also too, they then obviously you're sharing with them about your product. And I mean, we're very fortunate with Bryn is that basically everyone in the room should be downloading Bryn and using it, because they're all entrepreneurs or small business owners. So from my point of view, that's a really easy thing to talk about. And what's really great is a lot of them were downloading it there in front of us, and so it's great. And of course, if they download it and use it, they'll share it with other people as well and tell other people about it. So it's really important that you make those connections and just be open that even though the person standing in front of you might not be a direct connection for your business, there's always something that you can learn from it. Now, as part of our preparation, and something I didn't mention yesterday, I mean, obviously I would be an absolute fool if I'm sitting on this gold mine of amazing content that we have at Bryn if I didn't use it myself. And I do use it myself, and I watch a considerable, or predominantly I listen, to be honest, on my commute to work. I listen and consume a considerable amount of content that we have on Bryn. And in preparation to coming to website, there were certain shows that I was watching. I'll probably share a couple of them over the time that I'm talking to you this week. But the one in particular I wanted to mention today was one called Networking Makes Simple. And it's Rebecca Hallworth that's the host of that show. And I watched the whole series the week before I came to Web Summit. And, Rebecca gave some amazing tips on things to do. I mean, Web Summit's all about networking, right? And some people are really comfortable with it and some people are not. And, if you're here at Web Summit and it's something you struggle with, and I know it's true because I would say tonight, there was at least 20, 30 people I saw standing on their own. And so clearly not comfortable being in that scenario. And, really they're wasting so many opportunities. And so I can't encourage you guys enough to get onto Networking Made Simple and hear what Rebecca has to say and share. And there's something that particularly I used tonight that Rebecca shared, is that we have, I guess you would say, two statements about Bryn that are true. Both of them are true. And one is that, Bryn's the world's first artificial intelligent business advisor. The second is that she's the world's smartest artificial intelligent business advisor. And what I did tonight, which is something that Rebecca encourages, is that, you should test some of your statements and the way that you talk to people, because, some may connect with people more than others. So I did that tonight. I used both of them and saw how people react. Now, I'm happy to share with you what it is because, I want to encourage you guys to do the same for yourself, right? So what I noticed is when I said, Bryn is the world's smartest artificial intelligent business advisor, every single time I did, you see people stop to hesitate, because when you think of it, it's a new product to market. No one's ever heard it before. But if you say the world's smartest, they're kind of thinking, well, hang on a minute, is there another product out there? So, wow, that's interesting because I've never heard of it before. But as soon as I say we're the world's first artificial business advisor, immediately people know it's a unique product, it's first to market. And so they don't need to question, do I know about this product? Have I heard about it before? Or that type of thing. Immediately they know, oh, okay, this is a new product. I don't know anything about it. And so then they'll ask you straight away. So it's really interesting. What I've kind of made the decision on now is that when I talk to people for the first time who I know don't know Bryn, I will use the world's first artificial intelligent business advisor. But when I'm having deeper conversations with people and I'm talking about our content and talking about how we create our content and how important it is for us, then I'm definitely going to then start talking about the world's smartest and why we choose to create, and that's what makes us so smart. Now, I'm noticing Peter Ewers, who's actually from our office at Bryn in Sydney. He's saying that he's watched some of the Networking Made Simple, and Rebecca is absolutely awesome. So some really great advice. Yeah, I mean, obviously I couldn't I couldn't agree more. And so, yeah, as you could imagine, I encourage everyone in our team to watch Bryn as well. In fact, it's on everyone's KPIs. So, it's great that you're using it too, Peter. So there's some tips there. Now, the other thing that I wanted to share with you, this is kind of a little fun thing, I guess, is I would say the top 3 tips that you probably won't hear anywhere else. Because, most of the time people will talk about, how to make the most of Web Summit. I probably give it in far more detail than most people. But these are 3 tips that, obviously I'm in operations. I absolutely love operations. And, when you are that kind of person, attention to detail and execution is really important. And so I would have to say, for anyone that hasn't been to Lisbon before, like myself, the city is all cobblestones. The center of the city where we are, it is cobblestones everywhere, and so that means it's high heels nightmare. And you literally cannot walk around this city in high heels. And I noticed that all the locals, they wear flat shoes. They wear flat shoes, boots, all that type of thing. So really what you need is you absolutely need to bring flat, comfortable walking shoes. Fortunately, I did. Unfortunately, no, they don't go with my work outfit. So what I'll be doing is, as I commute to the summit, I'll be wearing my flat, comfortable shoes to ensure I don't sprain my ankle or break my neck. But I'll switch into my heels when I get to Web Summit. A really unusual tip, but I know that every woman out there that comes to Web Summit next year will thank me for it, because it's very challenging walking on heels in cobblestones. The next thing, for any of us that traveled multiple time zones to get here, let me tell you, jet lag is a killer. And you're falling asleep at dinner at 8 o'clock, and then you're up bright-eyed, wide awake at 2:30 in the morning. So you do really need to allow yourself 2 or 3 days to get over your jet lag, because otherwise you feel awful. And trying to connect with people, I can't emphasize how grateful I am that we came a couple of days early. It doesn't mean that you sit around and do nothing. We were working, definitely during waking hours that we were working, but it did give us that time. So I really felt today we hit the ground running, because we'd had, so we still had a bit of jet lag last night, but, by the time this morning came around, I think we're now definitely on Lisbon time, and it makes a big difference. The other thing is, it is a lot colder in Lisbon than I expected. And I think particularly if you're coming, obviously we came from Australia. So if you're coming from a warm country, you notice it particularly more. But Lisbon is also on a river. And so there's a very strong breeze that comes through, and it can be quite windy, and boy, is it cold. And, I did bring a jacket, and I'm very grateful for that. But I actually probably should have bought some more warmer clothes as well. So just don't underestimate, because you think, oh, it's on the coast, and usually it's known for its warm weather and what have you, but let me tell you, at this time of year it's actually quite cold. So make sure that you wrap up for that as well. So the last thing that I wanted to share with you is that if you have a product that's a website or a mobile app, obviously we have a mobile app. As many of you know, we all use, anyone that's in that space often uses Amazon S3 to deliver your content, whether it's images, whether it's video or that type of thing. Now, what's really great, you have an opportunity when you are in a different country, is to test how your app or your website works in that country. I would even recommend this to software companies that have cloud-based, because we all assume often too much that, if it works in my country, it will work everywhere else. For ourselves, what we experienced is that our app works perfectly in Australia, but when we were using it yesterday, there was something that we found in terms of the delivery of the images of our shows. They weren't populating properly, and so we're on the call to Australia going, is this working for you? And they go, yeah, it's working for us fine, but it wasn't here in Portugal. And so Angelino, who's our lead developer, who's here with me, he was able to troubleshoot that with the team, work out what it was. It was only on iOS, by the way, and so they were able to get a fix, get it into the App Store, and it's been approved, and it's already now available as a download for that latest release. But it just really points out to me that you just can't assume that because your product works in your country that it's going to work everywhere else. And, you know, going back to Wolff with Ash, is that what's really great about their product is that you can arrange that you have testers in multiple countries so that you can ensure that your product does work efficiently across countries. So, you know, for those of you that are at Web Summit, I mean, you probably would anyway, because particularly if you're having a stand, you're going to be showing it. But I can't emphasize enough that, you know, definitely today and tomorrow you should be testing your product hard here to make sure that it works properly as well in Portugal as it does in your home country. So that's about it. I think it's past midnight here now, so I really do need to hit the sack, a very Australian term. I need to go to bed because we've got an early start tomorrow. We really kick off in a big way tomorrow at Web Summit. The doors open, I believe, at 8 o'clock tomorrow. And so I'm really looking forward to getting into the venue and listening to the speakers and meeting lots of great people. And I'm going to endeavour to give you an update from Web Summit itself tomorrow. So thank you for listening. I look forward to connecting to you tomorrow. And have a great evening if you're on the same side of the world as me, or have a great rest of the day if you're in Australia on that side of the world. All right, see you later.